Hello, my friends. Welcome to the Tommy Podcast on English Every Day. My name is Tommy, and today we're going to have one of those conversations that feels like a night walk with a friend. The street is calm, the lights are soft, and we talk about something real, something that matters, even if it's a little uncomfortable. First of all, thank you for being here again. Every week, I see more and more people listening, sending me notes, and sharing how our talks are part of their day. Yesterday, I read a message from a guy named Andre. He said, "Tommy, I usually listen while I cook dinner. It feels like I'm not alone in the kitchen anymore." That touched me. Andre, if you're listening now, please save me some of that dinner. And you know what still feels shy? That little red button. Yes, the subscribe button. I swear, it looks at me like, "Why? Doesn't he click on me? I'm waiting." So if you haven't done it yet, go ahead and make that button happy. Click it. And maybe like this episode too. It really helps me keep walking with you every day. Now, let's get serious for a moment. I want to talk about something that's been on my mind for weeks. Weed. Yes, cannabis, marijuana, whatever name you prefer. It's one of those topics where everyone has an opinion, yet very few people stop to see the bigger picture. Some say, it's just a plant, it's harmless. Others say, it's dangerous, it destroys lives. And somewhere between those extremes lies the truth. Let me be honest with you. I grew up with mixed feelings about it. I remember being a teenager and hearing all those scary campaigns, you know? If you smoke once, your brain will melt. Your future is over. It was terrifying. But I also had friends who smoked sometimes, and they looked normal. Not monsters. Not broken. Just regular guys who laughed too much at bad jokes. So, for a long time, I didn't know what to believe. Have you ever felt that too? Stuck between what adults say and what you actually see in real life? Here's the thing. Today, more and more countries are legalizing weed. Germany just did it. Canada did it years ago. Some U.S. states too. And the argument is simple. Alcohol is legal and kills way more people. That's true. But legal or not, safe or not, I think we need to face this with honesty. Because if we pretend it's 100% good, we're lying. And if we pretend it's 100% bad, we're also lying. Let me share a scene with you. Years ago, I was at a bus stop, and next to me was a young man. He looked nervous, scratching his arm, eyes red. He turned to me and whispered, "I just need to smoke to feel normal." That sentence hit me hard. I just need to smoke to feel normal. Say it out loud with me. I just need to smoke to feel normal. Doesn't it sound scary? When something outside of you becomes your definition of normal, you lose part of your freedom. That's what made me curious. Why do some people smoke occasionally and stay fine, while others fall into a hole of dependence, loneliness, and fog? That's what I want to explore with you today. Not to judge, not to say, never do this, but to shine some light on the risks, the truths, the science we finally have. Because here's the problem. For decades, weed was so criminalized that scientists couldn't even study it properly. Paperwork, restrictions, tiny samples. The result? Too many myths, too much exaggeration, and very little balance. But now studies are coming out. And my friends, not all of them look pretty. Think about this. Weed today is not the same as in the 70s or 80s. Back then, the THC level, the chemical that causes the high, was much lower. Today, it's more than double. In some products, it reaches 60%. Can you imagine that? It's like comparing a light beer to a bottle of vodka. Of course, the effect on your brain, your body, your emotions is different. I don't want to sound like a teacher here. I want to sound like your friend who says, "Hey, look, I care about you, so I need to tell you what I learned." That's my role here. And your role is just to listen, reflect, and maybe share your thoughts with me later. So let me ask you something. Have you ever felt stuck in a cycle? Maybe not with weed, maybe with your phone, or with sugar, or even Netflix. That feeling of, I know it's not good for me, but I still use it every day. Yeah, that's where weed can get dangerous. For some people, it starts as fun, but slowly replaces motivation, curiosity, connection, until one day you wake up and say, I'm not really living, I'm just passing time. And that's what I want us to explore in this episode. The thin line between freedom and dependence. Between curiosity and harm. Between enjoying life and escaping life. We'll talk about addiction, about loneliness, about what science says happens to the brain when you use too much, especially if you start young. But don't worry. We'll also talk about moderation, about choices, and about hope, because in the end, weed is not a monster. It's a plant with power. And like any power in life, it depends on how we use it. Fire can warm your home or burn it down. The same goes for cannabis. So, stay with me. Grab your coffee, keep walking, or just lie down and listen. Let's face this topic together, with honesty, reflection, and courage to ask questions. Ready? Let's go. I remember when I was about 18. Some of my friends liked to smoke on weekends, just to laugh at silly movies or eat too many snacks. I was always the one sitting on the side, curious but also afraid. In my head, there was a voice saying, if you try once, maybe you'll lose control. Do you know that kind of fear? The fear of not trusting yourself? At the same time, another voice whispered, but look at them. They're cool. They're not criminals. They're just kids having fun. That tension stayed with me for years. And maybe you felt the same, caught between curiosity and caution, between the stories people tell you and the reality you see with your own eyes. That's why I want to open this conversation today. Because weed, cannabis, is not just a word. It's part of culture, politics, medicine, and friendship circles. It shows up in songs, in jokes, in headlines, and every time it shows up, it carries a different weight, depending on how people say it. Let me tell you about one night in Berlin. I was walking near Alexanderplatz, and there was a group of guys sitting on the steps, passing around a joint. One of them looked at me and asked with a smile, "Do you smoke weed?" The way he said weed sounded casual, like asking, "Do you drink coffee?" It was street talk. No fear, no problem. Just normal conversation between friends. Later that same night, back at the hotel, I turned on the TV. The news anchor was serious, almost stiff, and said, "Cannabis has been officially legalized in Germany this week. Same plant, same substance. But listen to the words. Weed on the street, cannabis on the news. Two different worlds. And here comes the science part. The active ingredient in cannabis is called THC, tetrahydrocannabinol. Don't worry about the long name. All you need to know is this. THC is the part that makes you feel high. It changes your brain, your mood, your perception. It can calm you, make colors look brighter, make music sound magical. But, and here's the but, the more THC, the stronger the effect. And today, THC levels are much higher than they used to be. Think about this. In the 70s, most weed had around 3 to 5% THC. Today, many products have 15, 20, even 60%. It's not the same thing. It's like comparing a light beer to a shot of vodka. One can relax you. The other can hit you hard. And the problem is, most people don't even realize how much stronger it has become. I think of life choices like food. Sometimes you eat chocolate. Sweet, fun, harmless. But imagine if a chocolate bar suddenly had 3 times more sugar and caffeine. Would it feel the same? Probably not. The same goes for cannabis. The stronger it is, the bigger the impact on your body and mind. Now, let's do a little practice moment. Let's play with these words together. Ready? Wherever you are, walking, cooking, lying in bed, say them out loud with me. First, weed. Yes, soft, casual, like street language. Again, weed. Great. Now change the mood. Imagine you're reading a medical report or watching a serious news show. Say, cannabis. Feel how the word carries more weight, more formality. Again, cannabis. Do you notice the difference? It's the same plant, but with 2 outfits. One is streetwear, weed. The other is a suit and tie, cannabis. That's what fascinates me. Language reveals attitudes. The way we name things changes the way we see them. And in this case, it changes how we feel about using them. On the street, it's fun, easy, maybe even rebellious. In law or science, it's a drug with risks and responsibilities. So as we go deeper into this talk, I want you to keep these 2 words in mind. Next time you hear someone say, weed, notice the context. Is it casual? Social? And next time you read cannabis, notice how official it sounds. The contrast itself tells us a lot about how society deals with this subject. Between fun and fear, between freedom and control. In the next part, we'll face the harder truths. What really happens when weed, cannabis, is not used just once in a while, but every day? How does it affect motivation, memory, the sense of connection? But for now, let's pause with this simple picture. Same plant. 2 words. 2 outfits. One is common use, weed. The other is formal use, cannabis, and both are part of the story we need to tell honestly. There's something I need to tell you, and it's not easy. For a long time, people laughed at the idea of being addicted to weed. They said, "Come on, it's not like alcohol or heroin. You can quit any time." But science and life show us another side. Let me take you back to a memory. Years ago, I met a guy named Lucas. He was funny, smart, always with a guitar in his hands. He smoked almost every day, and at first it seemed harmless. He laughed, played music, ate pizza, slept. But little by little, something changed. The music stopped sounding alive. His jokes became repetitive. And one day, he looked at me and whispered, "Tommy, I don't even like this anymore, but I can't stop." That broke my heart. Because he wasn't lying. He wanted to quit, but his brain didn't let him. That's addiction. Not always dramatic, not always lives destroyed on the streets, but quiet, invisible, stealing motivation day by day. Here's the truth. For 8 out of 10 people, weed is just occasional. No problem. But for 2 out of 10, it turns into what scientists call cannabis use disorder. That means they keep smoking even when life gets worse. Even when they know it's hurting their focus, their memory, their relationships. And 1 out of 10 becomes highly dependent. Daily users, losing joy, losing time. Have you ever felt stuck in something like that? Maybe not with weed. Maybe with your phone, maybe with sugar, maybe scrolling TikTok until 3 in the morning. That feeling of, I don't even like this anymore, but I can't stop. It's the same prison. And that's why I want you to reflect, honestly, without shame. Because weed, when used too often, does something dangerous. It makes boredom feel comfortable. Normally, boredom is a signal. When you're bored, your brain says, hey, create something, call a friend, learn, move. But if you smoke too much, boredom doesn't push you anymore. You just sit in the fog. Time passes. Life becomes good enough. Not bad, not good. Just numb. And numbness kills dreams slowly. Another thing, loneliness and weed often walk together. If you feel lonely, you smoke to escape. But the more you smoke, the more isolated you become. You stop calling friends. You stop trying new things. And suddenly, you're in a cycle. Loneliness, smoke, more loneliness. Which comes first? Hard to tell, but together, they pull you down. Let me be honest. I've felt this in my own way. Not with weed, but with procrastination. I remember staying home, watching videos for hours, telling myself, tomorrow I'll start. And tomorrow never came. Days turned into weeks. And deep down, I wasn't sad. I wasn't happy. I was just stuck. Do you know that feeling? That's why this matters. Weed can trick you into staying stuck. And life is too short for that. Now, let's talk about the brain. This part is serious. THC affects your memory, your attention, your decision-making, especially if you start young. Teens who smoke a lot face a higher risk of struggling in school, dropping out, or even developing mental health problems later. Depression, anxiety, even psychosis. Not always, not for everyone, but enough to be scary. And the worst part? The earlier you start, the bigger the risk. Imagine your brain as a house still under construction. If you smoke every day while the walls are not ready, some rooms may never be as strong as they should. That's why doctors say, if you're young, wait. Your future self will thank you. I know. Maybe this feels heavy. Maybe you're thinking, but Tommy, I only smoke sometimes. It's no big deal. And maybe you're right. For many people, moderate use is fine. But here's the challenge. Are you using it to enjoy life? Or to escape life? That's the key question. Let me give you a small practice scene. Imagine you're at a party. A friend offers you a joint and asks, "Want to smoke?" You smile and say, Not today, I'm good. Repeat with me. Not today, I'm good. Chew, short, polite, confident. That's a powerful sentence, my friend, because sometimes saying no is not weakness. It's strength. I want you to feel that strength. Even if one day you choose to smoke, I want you to know you also have the power to say no. Freedom is not doing everything you want. Freedom is choosing. And choice only exists when you're not dependent. So let's keep walking in this reflection. We've talked about addiction, about loneliness, about how the brain can be affected. This is not about fear. It's about clarity. Because when you see the truth clearly, you can choose clearly. And I promise that in the next part, we'll also talk about hope, because moderation is real. Balance is real. Life is not about never or always. It's about learning when and why. But for now, keep this thought in your heart. Weed is not the enemy. Addiction is. Cannabis is not the evil. Numbness is. And you, my friend, are stronger than both. We've walked a hard road together today, haven't we? Addiction, loneliness, memory, the risks for young people. It's not easy to face these things, but I believe when we talk about them openly, we push the shadows away. Because silence is where fear grows. Honesty is where freedom begins. So let's breathe together now. Inhale. Exhale. Good. Let me remind you of something important. Weed, cannabis, is not a monster. It's a plant with power. And like any kind of power, it depends on how you use it. Fire can warm your home or burn it down. Wine can celebrate a wedding or destroy a family. Cannabis can help some people relax, manage pain, or enjoy music. But it can also trap others in fog, numbness, and delay. The secret is not to demonize or glorify. The secret is responsibility. The secret is choice. Let me share another memory. A few years ago, I met a man in Toronto. He was about 50, calm, with wise eyes. He told me, "I use cannabis once a month, like a ritual. I don't want it to become normal. I want it to stay special." That stayed with me, because moderation, my friends, is not about rules. It's about rhythm. When you keep something rare, you protect its meaning. So maybe the real question is not, should I smoke or not, but why am I smoking? What am I running from? What am I trying to feel? Ask yourself that, not with guilt, but with curiosity, because being honest with yourself is more powerful than any law. Let's practice for a moment. Imagine someone offers you a joint and you really want to say no, because deep down you know it's not the right time. I want you to answer with me, out loud, not today, maybe another time. Say it again. Not today, maybe another time. That's freedom. Not rejecting forever. Not promising forever. Just choosing for now. And here's the challenge I want to leave with you this week. Smoke or not, I want you to notice the moments when you try to escape reality. It might be weed, it might be your phone, it might be junk food. Notice the moment you say, "I just need this to feel normal." Write it down. Observe it. And then ask yourself, do I really need this? Or am I stronger than this? Because I believe you are stronger. Stronger than loneliness. Stronger than the fog. Stronger than any habit. You see, life is not about perfection. Life is about direction. If you fall, stand up. If you feel lost, take one step forward. If you used weed to escape yesterday, maybe today you can face your feelings. That is growth. That is courage. And remember, consistency is more powerful than perfection. If you practice honesty with yourself every day, little by little, you'll find your balance. Now, let's close our walk together. We started with the words weed and cannabis. Remember? Street clothes, suit, and tie. Two ways to name the same thing. And that's the lesson. The way we name things changes the way we see them. Say weed, and it sounds casual. Say cannabis, and it sounds formal, serious. Same plant, two outfits. And you, my friend, also have many outfits. Sometimes you are your casual, fun self. Sometimes you are your serious, focused self. Both are true, both are real, both are part of you. And the secret of life is knowing when to wear each one. So, here's my final invitation. Stay curious. Be honest. Ask yourself better questions. And never forget, you are not alone in this. I'm with you. Every step, every coffee, every night when you press play and hear my voice. If today's talk touched you, leave a comment. Tell me one sentence you repeated with me, or one thought you had during this episode. And don't forget to subscribe. That little red button is still shy and waiting for your click. Thank you, my friends, for another deep walk together. You give meaning to my words, and I hope my words give courage to your days. This is the Tommy Podcast from English Every Day. Bye-bye.